Developing Resiliency Through the Exploration of Educational Leadership Styles, Effective Educational Leadership in the 21st Century, by Dr. Joseph A. King with Orlando McAllister. The available evidence suggests that effective resilient educational leadership is still a somewhat traditional enterprise that needs to be restructured. Leadership style evoked the curiosity of scholars and philosophers since the golden age of the Greek philosophers. 400 years before the birth of Christ, Plato, the most revered of the Greek philosophers, was so alarmed at the level of leadership in his day that he founded the Academy. It was acclaimed to be the first university in the Western world and was dedicated to training philosopher kings. Plato believed that leaders must be educated and that philosopher kings must be the embodiment of effective leadership. 7th book, The Republic. Over the centuries, classical management/leadership theorists considered, among other things, the need for a given set of behavior patterns and interpersonal skills as a barometer for predicting successful leadership. Kemper, 1999, points out that historically, a leader's character was referred to as soft skills. The College of New Rochelle, CNR, is a sterling example of resilient educational leadership, an institution that serves to validate a number of the classical management/leadership theories. Over a century ago, Mother Irene Gill and the Ursulines of the St. Teresa community founded a vibrant female Catholic liberal arts college. CNR was referred to by some clerics as Irene's Follies, CNR Quarterly, Winter 2004. The institution also drew much opposition from the male-dominated establishment of the day. The opposition included the Board of Regents and other rival institutions. The available data suggests that it was through resilient leadership, that is, the resourcefulness to overcome diversity at all costs, that propelled CNR from a humble beginning of 12 students to 38,000 women after 100 years. CNR 2003 report stated that more recently men have earned undergraduate and graduate degrees. The suggestion is that the intended outcome of Mother Gill's endeavor was successful, among other things, because of a level of resilient leadership. She was able to surmount the profound challenges of a complete lack of funds and issues arising from the intrinsic nature of the learning environment. Over the centuries, classical leadership theorists concluded, among other things, that a given set of behavioral patterns and interpersonal skills be used as a barometer for predicting successful leadership. However, requirements for managerial success in the workplace have changed. Goldman, 1996, noted that success is no longer solely the function of academic qualifications, prior work history and/or experience. Instead, the major significant difference between classical and contemporary leadership theorists stems from a different psychological management perspective. While classical theorists emphasized cognitive skills, that is, intelligence quotient, IQ, and expertise, contemporary leadership theorists favor a behavioral leadership approach. A premium is placed on the social skills of the manager/leader. Goldman, 2000, declared that a common quality among the most effective leaders has been identified as emotional intelligence, EI, the ability to manage ourselves and our relationships effectively. As a result, he pointed out that cognitive skills are juxtaposed to social skills as a catalyst for successful management/leadership in today's work environment. This explains the significant interest in EI in current leadership research literature and management/leadership circles. It is critical to note that Goldman, 1998, also concluded that one's EI determines one's potential for mastering leadership skills that are based on 5 elements: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Successful leaders tend to have strengths that spread across these 5 competencies. Individuals are not known to be competent in all 5 elements of EI. On the contrary, leaders tend to have limited strength in each competency. Permit me to digress for a moment, to refer to a significantly important finding. Recent research leadership theorists link each of the 6 leadership styles, i.e., coercive, authoritative, democratic, affiliative, pace-setter, and coach, touted in current management leadership literature, to a particular element of EI. These leadership styles constitute a critical mass of skills, which enhances a leader's capacity to make the most appropriate and proactive/reactive calls. We will return to these leadership styles later in our discourse. Now let us return to our dialogue on the behavioral theory of leadership in the postmodern environment. Indeed, without EI, an individual may have superior analytical skills of the finest quality, yet the individual may not develop into an effective leader. It is by no means being suggested that IQ is irrelevant. The fact is that IQ serves primarily as a measurement of threshold capabilities. Recent research findings have also contended that intellect and cognitive skills are the bedrock of outstanding performance. However, Foote, 2001, declared that EI is twice as significant in determining successful job performance at all levels and trumps all other skills. It was argued that EI plays an even more critical role at the higher levels of leadership where difference in technical skills is of minor significance. When star performers were compared to average performers, 90% of the difference in their profiles was attributed to EI, rather than to cognitive abilities. It can prove costly when leaders are EI inept. Other studies pointed out that there is a strong correlation between an institution's success and the EI of its leaders. Indeed, Goldman, 1995-1998, in several large studies in excess of 2 million subjects found that EI increases the higher an individual progresses within the organization. It was posited that EI made the difference between the mediocre leader and the successful leader. Goldman, 1998, also concluded that EI can be learned. Furthermore, an individual's EI is not genetically determined, nor does it crystallize during adolescence. EI is unlike IQ, which changes little after adolescence. The available research suggests that EI develops as one matures. Through one's lifespan. Weisinger, 1998, argues that one's EI develops as one's self-awareness increases. Of greater significance in leadership circles is Goldman's, 1998, declaration that EI is gender neutral, although women as a group tend to be more aware of their emotions. Self-awareness, the Harvard Business Review, 2001, pointed out that self-awareness is the most important element of EI. It was argued that knowing oneself is the most important competency in leadership. Furthermore, it was Socrates who exhorted us, "Man, know thyself." Self-awareness therefore enables individuals to monitor their mood and to lead, and to inspire confidence in others. It also enables the leaders to become aware of their strengths and weaknesses. Lack of self-awareness can cause leaders to make unsound decisions that often result in failure. Self-regulation. Self-regulation is another element of EI, referring to one's innate ability to free oneself from the shackles of one's feeling, to gain control of one's feeling or emotions and to channel them into a meaningful manner. When individuals are in control of their feelings and impulses, they are capable of creating an environment of trust and fairness. Goldman, 1998, found that in organizations where self-regulation is a common practice, politics and infighting are significantly reduced, thereby increasing focus and productivity. Self-regulation enhances integrity and the tendency to be less impulsive. It enables leaders to draw a line in the sand, and tell workers what they need to know rather than what they wish to hear. Motivation. Motivation is also an important element of EI. It is the driving force behind successful leaders. Motivated individuals are driven to achieve beyond their own expectations and the expectations set by their colleagues. They are highly passionate about their work, enjoy learning, take pride in a job well done, and constantly strive to do even better. Another characteristic of motivated leaders is that they remain optimistic even at times of seeming despair. They tend to use self-regulation and motivation to overcome frustration and/or depression resulting from failure. As Goldman, 1995 and 1998, points out, highly motivated leaders are committed to their institutions and are invariably long-term employees. Empathy. Goldman, 1998, argues that empathy is perhaps the most easily recognized element in EI. It is clearly not adapting to other people's emotions as your own or trying to please everyone. Instead, Empathy involves careful consideration of the feelings of colleagues together with other factors in the decision-making process. Empathy is a major component of effective leadership, especially because of increased need for teamwork, that is, sensitivity to various opinions and situations, globalization, awareness of cultural and ethnic differences, and the necessity to retain talented workers. Sometimes, empathy is not well respected in leadership circles and is viewed as a sign of weakness. Leaders have to be careful not to confuse sympathy with empathy. Simply put, Siegel, 1997, refers to empathy as an individual's ability to manage his/her relationship with others. Social skills, the final element of EI to be discussed, it deals with one's ability to manage one's relationship with others. Social skills should be considered friendliness with a purpose, i.e., maintaining the ability to lead individuals in desired directions. It also refers to the ability to find common ground and rapport with others. Leaders who possess social skills know when to make an emotional plea or when to appeal to reason. King Lawrence, 2003, accepts the truism that leaders cannot do all the work themselves. She suggests that the leader's task is to get the job done through others, delegation, and social skills. Make that possible. As with anything else in life that is worthwhile, it takes time and commitment to learn to work through others. The available research also reported an inverse correlation between technical skills and cognitive skills as one moves up in leadership circles. However, intellectual or technical skill was of no significance at the highest level of successful leadership. Instead, EI made the crucial difference between a mediocre leader and an effective leader. Furthermore, as Goldman, 1998, points, EI has other significant uses such as, Tucker, 2000, argued that since IQ and expertise are no longer considered the bedrock of successful leadership, then EI needs to be nurtured at least at the college level. It is of great significance to note that the Peter Principle invariably referred to workers who were promoted despite inadequate intellectual abilities and technical skills. Those promotions were usually based on longevity or nepotism. Today, EI has taken on additional meaning. It refers to individuals who lack EI and who are doomed to become ineffective leaders. Goldman, 1998, declared that organizations whose leaders are emotionally intelligent tend to be resilient regardless of potential challenges now and in the future. Current research suggests EI to be the wave of the future. It embraces leadership skills and gives the competitive edge to organizations whose leaders are EI competent, that is, a leader's ability to lead workers inspire confidence, thus creating a work environment which is resilient and effective. King Lawrence, 2003, posited that leadership is by no means an exact science because of individual differences among leaders. She cites Dupree, 1989, who concluded that leadership has taken on an art form. Current research findings make it possible for leaders to get a handle on the skills required for success. They need to juggle different leadership styles in order to lead colleagues and effectively and to set the tone of an institution. Hence, the need for leaders to be flexible and not become a slave to any single style. In practice, effective resilient leaders switch styles, use each style in varying degrees and combinations, as each situation demands. Although many leaders consistently employ 6 styles, research suggests that mastering 4 specific styles, authoritative, democratic, affiliative, and coaching, is conducive to success. They enable the leader to take the initiative as she/he coaches, motivates, initiates policy, delegates, builds team spirit, resolves conflict, and maximizes learning outcomes. Coercive style. The coercive style seems the least effective in many situations. It has a dictatorial flavor, lacks flexibility, and uses top-down decisions which kill initiative and new ideas. Workers feel disrespected and lose a sense of responsibility and ownership. They do not share ideas for fear they will be shot down. It erodes workers' pride and motivation, and many of them tend to adopt a negative attitude towards a leader. I will not help the idiot. Although this style has its negative effects, there are times when the coercive style can be used successfully, when change has to take place immediately, for example, a change in teaching certification requirements, and/or hiring practices. It is recommended in general that the coercive style should be used with caution. It is only worthwhile in a real crisis situation when every other method has failed. Authoritative style. The authoritative style is especially effective when a clear vision is needed and the mission of the institution needs to be reinforced using strategic planning. For example, when the enrollment of an institution falls below the expected levels, it may be attributed to attrition. The leadership of the institution may have to implement proactive enrollment and retention strategies. It may also be attributed to the advisor's failure to serve the students effectively, in which case they may need to practice more hands-on effective counseling, such as patrolling corridors and meeting with students in their various locations and under different circumstances, helping to resolve challenges. Because the authoritative leader states the end, he/she gives people much leeway to use their initiative and buy ownership into their plan. Like anything else, the authoritative leadership style is not a panacea. It may run into snafus when the leader is working with colleagues and experts who are more experienced and knowledgeable than he/she is. The authoritative leader can sometimes be seen as pompous and out of touch, even though the authoritative leadership style in general may yield positive rather than negative results. Affiliative style. The affiliative style stands in contrast to the coercive style. It is a people-oriented style. The leader sees people as human beings first, and workers second. It plays to workers' emotions more than tasks/goals. Affiliative leaders strive to keep workers happy and build harmonious relationships on the job. They seek unswerving loyalty of their followers, build good rapport, and share ideas. This style encourages flexibility and leads to innovation and risk-taking. Unnecessary restrictions are lifted, and workers get the job done in a way they think to be the most effective. Affiliative leaders constantly acknowledge good workers and build excellent rapport with workers. They do not have to depend on a one-shot deal of an annual review. They indicate in them a sense of belonging by celebrating, for example, anniversaries, birthdays, or taking their staff to lunch. This leadership style is generally positive and useful in building team spirit, harmony, and fostering trust. However, leaders have to be on their guard. The affiliative style should be used in conjunction with other styles, for the authoritative style, when used alone, can lead to mediocre performance. Also, the leader has to be aware that praise for those who are doing well can become punishment for those whose performance is poor. Democratic style. The democratic style approach leads to collaborative and collective decision-making. Blanchard, 1991, notes that democratic leaders fully realize why God gives the resilient leader 2 ears and 1 tongue. They are invariably attentive listeners and meet with less backlash and rejection. This approach enables the leader to get people's ideas, builds rapport, respect, and commitment. It fosters flexibility and responsibility. It also helps the leader to hear the screeching wheels and learn how to keep morale high and set realistic goals. The major drawback of the democratic style is that it can involve too many meetings and at times makes consensus elusive. It can lead to confusion, the feeling of inept leadership, and sometimes to conflict resulting from diversity of opinion in the workplace. The democratic style works best when leaders are uncertain as to which direction to take. It works well in generating new ideas, but it is less effective when employees are not well informed or competent enough to make worthwhile decisions. Pace-setting style. The pace-setting style is somewhat akin to the coercive style and should be used with caution, because it can destroy the tone of an institution. The leader tends to be seen as a slave driver and seems to have little or no regard for individuality amongst workers. Leaders seem to be concerned only with exemplary high standards. The leader's objective is always to do things better and faster. He/she is quick to replace people who do not strive towards his/her standards. Such leadership can lead workers to become overwhelmed, thereby destroying morale. Pace setters expect people to know what to do in order to excel. They often feel that the worker is a poor fit if he/she has to be told what to do. Working for a pace setter invariably becomes a task of second-guessing the leader. Flexibility and responsibility are stifled and work becomes routine and boring. The pace setter tends to give no feedback and often takes over assigned jobs. He/she considers nothing is ever well done. Despite these flaws, the style works well when all workers are highly competent, motivated, skilled, and need little direction or coordination. Under these circumstances, work gets done on or ahead of schedule, but as with all other styles, it should never be used in isolation. Coaching style. Leaders who practice the coaching style help workers to become cognizant of their strengths and shortcomings. Coaching helps make the connection between workers and their career goals. Leaders also help workers to plan their long-term goals, set them challenging tasks, and give constant feedback to improve performance and achievement of set goals. They are experts in delegating tasks. The coaching style is the least used leadership style. It is usually argued that the coaching style requires too much time in a high-pressured work environment. However, experience has shown that with this style, the first session is the most time-consuming. Furthermore, the time spent on coaching and teaching colleagues can pay high dividends in terms of climate and performance. The coaching style works well when people are aware of their weaknesses and want to improve their performance. The coaching style fails when workers are not interested in improving their performances or changing their ways. Again, this style does not work well when leaders lack the expertise to help their followers to move along. While some leaders may argue that it would be overwhelming to combine the 6 styles of leadership, others may even claim that they use only 2 of the styles. Nevertheless, leaders can either be coached into developing the other 4 styles, or they can build leadership teams using other people with different leadership styles to complement their repertoire of styles. The idea is that in the day-to-day work environment, the need may arise for the use of any one or a combination of the leadership styles discussed. In this discussion, we were engaged in a comprehensive analysis/evaluation of the merits and demerits of the leadership styles in vogue. We are convinced that leaders should always bear in mind a simple truism that one can only be an effective leader if one has dedicated followers. The available data demonstrate that research outcomes of both the classical and the behavioral management theorists are the bedrock of effective leadership. However, empirical data suggest that a leader's honesty, integrity, and humility constitute the core of resilient leadership. CNR's century-old institution with its Ursuline tradition personifies those leadership qualities, leadership that seems to bestow credence in the words of Shakespeare's Hamlet, "This above all, to thine own self be true. And it must follow, as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man." The final conclusion is that leadership is also a function of the follower's perception of their leader, more especially in the learning environment where actions speak louder than words, and people learn more from a leader's actions than words. Ambivalence is not an option in resilient leadership. True resilient leaders always have to walk the talk, for there can be no dichotomy between words and actions. Furthermore, effective leaders must always be able to overcome challenges or obstacles that are inimical to the mission of the institution. In closing, resilient, effective leaders share much humility and integrity in common with Socrates, who declared that the one respect in which he is wiser than other men was his keen appreciation of his own ignorance of the most important matters. Thank you.